Hi there. From yet another freezing cold Farnham Flint, welcome to the February edition of the Redmond District Angling Association Fisheries feedback video. Lots and lots of stuff coming up, as you would have seen from our Facebook feed. Usual news, views, announcements, fishery report from Dell, fishing prospects from Jim, the competitions, and lots of events to plug. So let's get on. Right, Dale, fishery report. So, shall we start off with the hatchery?
Yeah, well, that's taken up a lot of my time.
You've been living and breathing it, haven't you, the last few days?
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
So what's been happening?
Dace, basically. It's all about the dace. We went and got some dace courtesy of Hungerford Town and Manor up at Hungerford. Rob Starr is the river keeper up there, and he allows us. We go up there every year because Calverton always get their grayling and their dace from up there. So I piggybacked off the back of that sort of thing. So we went up and got those, brought them down into the hatchery, and then I had 2 or 3 stressful days because they didn't want to do what the book was telling them to do. And this is the thing that we're sort of finding. We're doing it by the book because, you know, we're relatively new to this.
We don't know better.
Exactly. So, and as I say, I constantly say to anyone that wants to listen, you know, the book ain't always right. You know, nature will always chuck you a curveball. And I had a whole day of pulling my hair out because they weren't doing what the book was telling me.
And what were they supposed to be doing?
Well, essentially what you do is you give them an injection of hormone. I think I've described this before. And you wait a certain amount of hours and that makes them ovulate. And they weren't doing it. And I'm like, have I put enough injection into them? Have I done this? Have I done that? And I was literally pulling my hair out. And the highs and lows of this journey is amazing. And Thursday night I got home, I had my head in my hands, I was depressed, it was awful. And I'm thinking, I've done something wrong, la la la. And as a last ditch, I thought to myself, right, I'm going to up the temperature. Book tells me they'll ovulate at 10 degrees. I'm going to up it 14. And if they do, they do. If they don't, I'll take them and go and get some more. Went in there the following day, resigned to the fact that I was going to take these fish back up to the river and get some more, put the net in, eggs.
Eggs everywhere.
Eggs everywhere. So, yeah, I'd done a little dance. If anybody had been in there flying the wall, there's me dancing around the hatchery like a mad thing because I've suddenly got eggs.
Well, we'll get you to do your hatchery dance another time. So yeah. you mix the eggs with the milk. How many dace eggs have we got in our hatchery?
It's difficult to sort of take because you've got a bowl and that before, when you actually get them straight out of the fish, they're tiny. They are tiny. And then when you start adding the water to them, that's when they swell up and this, that, and the other. And you look at them in a bowl and you just think, oh, there's just millions. There's millions, you know. But I've actually since sat back and had a think about it, done some sums and what have you. And I reckon we got between about 40 and 50,000. So a few.
Well, that's not bad. Yeah. So you started with dace. That sounds like it's going okay.
Yeah.
End of the month, is it roach?
Yeah, it'll be roach.
End of April, isn't it?
End of April, it'll be roach. And then once we're into the roach, it's almost immediately straight into the barbel and the chub because that'll be end of May, middle to end of May. So May and June's going to be busy for us up there.
So if all goes according to plan, we are going to have tens and thousands of dace, roach, chub and barbel.
Yes.
In our hatchery by middle of June.
Yeah. That's
and
it.
You'll be looking for releases July, September time?
Yeah, I mean, we're going to be looking at around about end of July, I reckon. I mean, we've got to do a little bit of juggling because we have to get health checks in order to move any fish out.
Yeah.
Because we've got the fish in there at the moment that we're growing on from last year, we don't want to have to get a health check for those and then because it's all done on size ranges and this, that and the other, it's all very complicated. So we want to do one health check, essentially. Right. We don't want to do two. Mm-hmm. So what we'll do is we'll hang on until we've got everything ready, then we'll just get the one health check and then they'll all go out.
Fantastic. And will you be retaining, as planned, 30% to grow on? So we'll have mature dace and chub and roach and barbel growing on for another year or so.
Yes, yeah. Whatever we end up with come the end of June, what we'll do is we'll split 70% off. That will go out into the river as fry.
Yeah.
And then we'll keep the 30% back or so, and they'll grow on for next year, as they've done this year. I mean, the ones that are growing on at the moment, the chub and the barbel we've got, there's fish in there 6 inches long. There's some cracking fish in there.
Oh, well,
so it's going to be quite exciting actually, because where we've had to bubble wrap the tanks to try and keep a bit of heat in them, because that's one of our challenges, is keeping heat into the tanks this time of the year, because we heat the water, not the air. So you don't tend to see a great deal. You're just peering through a little sort of hole in the thing. So it's going to be quite exciting to sort of rip everything off and see exactly what we've got.
Well, we won't put that bit of video up now, because I think you're going to be showing some video at the Fisheries Forum at the end of the month, aren't you? So if people come onto the forum, they'll be able to see how those fish are progressing.
Yeah.
Fantastic, great work. Okay, big projects we announced in previous videos, obviously Wiley's and Cottage Lane. I assume the weather has meant that you haven't been able to get near either.
I mean, Cottage Lane, we have got, the contractors are booked for the 31st of March. So they're planning on moving in on the 31st or thereabouts.
Does that mean you'll be shutting the fishery for a couple of weeks?
They'll be shut for a month. It'll be shut for a month as of the 31st of March. And when I say it's shut, it's shut. That doesn't mean you go up there and have a walk around. It's shut. So all depending on the job, I mean, they work outside in the same way as we do. You can't actually plan these things to the day. They're on a job at the moment. Once they've done that job, which should be the end of the month, they'll be moving straight over to Cottage Lane. So it'll be that week at some point.
Okay, so that's the thing to remember, guys, for those of you that like Cottage Lane. I'm afraid you won't be fishing it in April.
No.
That's not going to happen. We won't talk too much about Wiley's. We've had the weather. We know it's wet, and we know Del and Jim will be getting down there as soon as they can.
Yeah, I mean, we've discovered there's a breach in the bank up at the river, because even though we've had a little bit of a dry spell and the river dropped, although it's come back up again, but it had dropped, we were still getting a lot of inundation there, and we've discovered that there's a breach further up on the bank, and it's coming into the lakes and forming its way through, and that's why we're really struggling. So now I've got Jim back from his adventures. This week I'm going to go up and have a look at this breach and see if there's something we can do to try and stem the flow a little bit, which will let us get on.
Yeah, well, that's good to hear. And Friday Club, I mean, you with Jim away in Thailand doing God knows what.
I think the least said the better there.
Well, I know he did a skydive and he survived.
Yeah, well, yeah.
So fair play.
Yeah, I don't think that's the weirdest thing he done.
No, we'll hear more about that later. You had the guys out for a couple of big litter picks, which was handy.
Yep.
But we'll be starting the Friday Club again in earnest from next Friday as we go through. So that'll be 10 o'clock, Farnham Flint. Meet here for a cup of tea, bacon roll, and Jim will give you plenty of constructive work to do on our fisheries. So make a note in your diaries for those of you that enjoy coming to the Friday Club. Now, Del, March the 3rd, which is upon us, is renewal date. So
it is.
How does that work for people? Because we always get questions.
Yeah, basically, it's all on your Clubmate app. You go on to Clubmate app, choose your bronze permit or your general permit, OAP permit, RDP permit, whichever you want to do. Press the buttons, fill your details out, job done.
And
easy as that.
Are we sending a reminder to people through the app?
I think there should be a reminder go out. I think that goes out automatically. It flags up on your front page of your sort of app, if you like.
Well, we can check that, can't we?
Yeah, I mean, the thing to remember is keys. We've had a bit of an issue this year with keys. There's a bit of a shortage of keys. So what we've done is we're going to roll over this year. So your key from this current year, last year, will work next year. So we won't be changing the locks. So do not throw your key away, because it will work this year. So there's no, obviously, new members will have to come and get a key either from Woodley Tackle, Angling Direct, or from the hut. But if you're an existing member, keep hold of your key.
Okay, so remember that. Permits, bronze and general, renew from March the 3rd. Details on your Clubmate app. You do not need a new key.
Easy.
Easy as that. Fabulous. And last but not least, the hatchery, back to the hatchery. Big thanks to all the 24-hour permit guys who have renewed and put a bit of extra money in the kitty for the Kennet hatchery. It's costing us £6 or £7 grand a year to run.
Yes.
We raised several £100s as a result of their extra donations. Bronze permit and general permit holders, you will note when you get your renewal form, you can tick a box and you can donate a tenner or 20 quid or 50 quid, whatever you can afford, to the Kennet Hatchery project. If you can spare us a bit of cash, obviously it will be really, really valuable to us.
Yeah, yeah.
And we're grateful for what we've had so far. We're looking forward to great things, because let's be honest, a lot of the river members are bronze permit. Holders,
That's it. And I think it's very prudent to sort of mention, we bang on about, people that give us big sums of money, and we've had a couple just recently that have come on board and partnered us and this, that and the other. And, it's easy for us to concentrate on the bigger donators, but it's just as important the guys that give us a tenner. A tenner pays for the lighting for a few days, pays for the heating for a day. So, anything you've got, whether it's a fiver, a tenner, 50 quid, whatever, it makes such a difference.
Right, announcements time. Awful lot happening. We've got our winter teaching programmes. You will have probably seen on our Facebook page, we had our first pike teaching. It's a classroom session, making up rigs and traces. That was well attended, and we're really grateful to the Reading Pike Anglers for hosting that. It was a good little session in here.
It was, yeah. I mean, even I learnt some stuff. So
yeah, there you go. You will have seen the posters. Coming up next is on March the 18th. Something I think is really important now. When I wander around Wilmot, some of our other lakes, I see a lot of fairly new anglers rigged up in a way that is almost guaranteed to ensure they catch very little, and just a few little tweaks. Learning how to plumb up, learning how to shot your depth, tying the knots properly so the fish stay attached. Makes a world of difference between a poor day and a bad day, and a good day, doesn't it?
Yeah. I mean, often, and I say this right across the board, any angling discipline and any individual, I think a lot of the time they catch in spite of what they're doing, not because of what they're doing.
Well, we can change all that, because we have Lewis Reed, who knows more about line and knots than anybody else. And we've also got, we're really lucky to have him in the club, Michael DeZiel, the Drennan-sponsored match angler. Very, very technical, very precise angler. I mean, if you can shot your floats half as good as Michael, then you'll get more bites and you'll catch more fish. So that's coming up on March 18th. There's 3 or 4 places left. We can only handle 10 people at a time in the hut. They're in the evenings, and I think it's 7 o'clock. So that's Tuesday, March the 18th. And then a bit later on in the month, we've got Gaz Fareham on carp rigs. Gaz, well known to the carp anglers out there. He will be revealing the secrets of his tackle box again at 7 o'clock on Wednesday, March the 26th. So that's our winter teaching programmes. We've done pike, line rigs and shotting, and then carp rigs. So hopefully we'll, I won't sell out, they're free, but hopefully they'll be full to capacity. Right, on top of that, there is the coaching programme that has been announced. Lots of events going on for young people and newcomers, organised by our excellent coaching team. And as part of the Better Fishing Academy, again, a full programme of fishing clinics, starting on the 12th of April with float fishing for carp at Wilmot's, going right the way through all the disciplines, same as we did last year, Dale: lure fishing, specimen tench fishing, specimen carp fishing, stick float, barbel fishing, feeder, bollo and whip on the Thames, and then finishing up with pike fishing on Flint. I was really impressed by how popular they were last year, and also how willing experienced members were prepared to give up their time.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, I think this is one of the things that has becoming more and more apparent, is this sense, and I say it all the time, sense of community, and we're really building a community. You've got community that people want to contribute to.
Yeah.
And it's really good. And what's really nice is when you sort of open up Facebook and you see guys that have been to some of these clinics with big fish.
Well, we're going to see one later as it happens, so
yeah.
that's a point well made. You will also see on Facebook that voting is now open for our Fish of the Year competition. I'm afraid we've got 11, not 12 entries. The big chub that Simon Wilkes caught, there was a mix-up over the date, so I've had to pull that out of the competition. So you're voting for 11. The voting is open until the 15th of March, and the trophy and the prize screening will be at our forum at Bradfield Cricket Club on when is it? March the 27th.
Yes.
Talking of the forum, and we'll stick the poster up for it now, our guest speaker there is going to be dear old Malcolm Morris.
Yes.
And he's going to tell us about the Kennet Valley specimen groups and the glory days.
Yes.
I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, I mean, I lived through a lot of that time, and I can remember a lot of the characters that were sort of there going around catching and it was a lot of secret squirrel sort of stuff back then.
Absolutely.
And it's a little bit like, when something comes out of, the American military service sort of thing, and everyone's like, wow, did that really happen? Sort of thing, because it was kept quiet. So it'll be a really interesting evening, I think, and it'll open a few people's eyes. I think some of the stuff that they used to get up to and some of the fish that they used to catch.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, over there, Englefield, only a few hundred yards from where we're sitting now, we know it did the record bream back in those days, but it was within a gnats of doing the record roach, wasn't it?
Yes.
Anyway, we'll hear all about it.
It'll be a really good evening. Really good evening.
Smashing. Well, please make a date in your diaries for the 27th of March, Thursday. And lastly, our open day, which is July the 5th. We've already announced that Phil Spinks, Magna Direct, is going to be our special guest. He's now going to be joined by Gary Newman. People will know Gary. I mean, he's fisherless here on the Reading Waters, isn't he? But he probably one of the most successful youngish specialist anglers in the country. So having both Gary and Phil together, I think it's going to be a pretty special day.
Yeah, and you never know, he might actually get up and sing a song as well. I think, was it Cars? Was that not a big hit for Gary Newman? I think it's
a different Gary Newman.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Bugger. Oh, well.
Okay. Thanks very much. I think that concludes all the announcements, but as you can see, an awful lot happening. So I think it's probably now time to roll the gallery. Well, Dale, a small round of applause for that lot and for braving the floods, the freezing cold, and God knows what.
Well, they obviously didn't take a lot of notice of my recommendations
Which
for
was
last.
to stay at home, wasn't it?
Stay at home. There was a few that actually ignored everything I said. Although, to be fair, it hasn't been that bad for a February. Obviously.
No, well, you can see what they've got. Well, you were saying earlier about people that came to our fishing clinics and caught big fish. So the first one I want to highlight is Andrew Cameron. I mean, Andrew Cameron, this is a £5 Kennet chub we got up there.
Yeah.
But he went and fished the Loddon, not an easy river, as we know. Again, had several really good hauls of specimen chub. So he is really, obviously whatever he picked up at the fishing clinic, he's applying, isn't he?
Yeah, that's it. I think he'll end up as being a tutor, I think, before too long, by the way it's going.
Okay, we'll keep in touch, Andrew. We may want your services.
Yes.
What else did I want to highlight here? I mean, there's some nice pictures. I mean, congratulations, obviously, to Jem Fox.
Mr. Consistent, I think, this year.
I mean, lovely barbel, lovely chub. But the Blackwater, a new addition to our portfolio. It's not an exchange ticket, by the way. It's we have paid for a number of permits, which you have to book up through Clubmate, and make sure you do book them up. But Stephen Kane and a few of the other lads have been down there. Stephen surprised the hell out of himself by landing a very rare river carp.
Yeah.
But
definitely.
there's a story here, isn't there? Because didn't Kevin Hargreaves got smashed up?
Yes. Kevin went down. I was talking to Kevin. Comes along to the Friday Club, and he was telling me that he was up there and he was convinced he'd lost a barbel, and then his mate lost one as well, and and then up pops on our Facebook page this carp, and we since found out there is a few that get up there. So
I think they come out the Yateley Lakes, further up, and they get washed down in the floods.
Yeah. So it's a surprise. It is a surprise.
But we've already had a barbel out in the middle of the cold weather from the Blackwater. So that was Mike Newson, had a nice barbel, and obviously chub, plenty of chub there. And then Stephen catches this. Bloody great river bream.
Yeah, and I mean that looks a decent bream as well.
Well, from a little stream.
Yeah, exactly. And I've had a few sort of river bream on stick floats and light tackle, and they're decent to catch.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyway, so congratulations to everyone for entertaining us with your pictures. Keep them coming, but it falls to you to select the Redden District picture of the month. So which one are you going for?
I mean, there's probably about 3 in there that you could pick on any one month, but the one I like the best, and because it's got a bit of a backstory and it's a lovely photo, it's Ashley Holmes. Ashley is the son of a Redden District member that's been a member for as long as I can remember, and he's been. I can remember his dad teaching him to fish when he was 5-6 years old, and suddenly to see him come up there catching his first barbel.
That's his second barbel.
Second barbel, sorry. And what a barbel that is.
But look at his face.
That's it. It's about pleasure, isn't it? At the end of the day, there's far too many people do walk around these lakes and you sort of say, well, what's up with you? Oh, I'm stressed. What are you stressed for? It's a hobby. You're supposed to be enjoying yourself, and that's the epitome of that. So,
I think it's a polar opposite of Andy Dodd. Now we know Andy loves his chub fishing, but look at that face.
Well, I mean, it's funny enough actually with Malcolm doing the forum. If we can get a smile out of Malcolm, because he's another one that doesn't smile.
So there you go, Ashley. You won it for your smile.
Yes. So well done, Ashley. Drop us a message and I'll arrange for some Bait Tech and Rod Hutchinson stuff to be in the hut waiting for you. And a big thanks to Bait Tech and Rod Hutchinson, as always, for helping us out with our prizes.
Do you know what? Before we move on to the fish of the month, we've got some map books coming, haven't we?
We have.
Do you want to just tell the members about the new map books?
Yes, map books. Painstaking. Somebody come up with an idea of rejigging our maps, putting what 3 words on them all, putting all the information, and actually doing a booklet. And unbeknownst to me, the amount of work that has taken to do is just phenomenal. Anyway, we've got there. They're being printed up as we speak. They will be in the hut at the end of this week. £2 to go. That just about covers the costs of the actual map book, with a little bit left over that we'll put towards a hatchery fund or the juniors. We'd probably do it one for one year, one for another year. I'm expecting them to sell out. It's about a 52-page little booklet, and it'll have all the information you will ever need to get you to a venue, shows you where the boundaries are, la-di-da-di-da-di-da.
Hopefully, it will stop me having to answer lots of questions on Facebook as well.
Well, exactly that. It will roll over to our new website that we're having built as well. So it's not a complete waste of our time doing it. So it will be exactly the same. We'll go on to our new website when we do it. So we'll all be singing off the same hymn sheet. So they're good maps. They're Ordnance Survey maps, as opposed to sort of Google Earth rough descriptions. These are accurate. These are bang on. It will take you to the gate. And of course, if you download What 3 Words app, it'll take you to the square 3 metres, won't it? Exactly that. So you can't go lost. You can't go wrong. Can't go wrong. We shall see. Famous last words. Okay, so look out for the map books. And my last piece for me, anyway, before we move on to Jim, the January Fish of the Month. Well, it gives me great... Oh, it's not the January Fish of the Month. What am I talking about? It's the February Fish of the Month. It gives me great pleasure to announce that it is Nigel McLaughlin. And the reason it gives me such pleasure is Nigel has entered, I think, 2, if not 3 times with spectacular fish, usually big chub. And he gets pipped. Usually gets pipped by a socking great barbel at the last minute. Yeah. Anyway, this month, Nigel did not get pipped. He had a fabulous chub of exactly £7 for the Kennet, caught it on the float. With a 7-pin reel as well. The only way. So Nigel, you have won. So you will get your £50 Angling Direct voucher and a nice little trophy, and of course you'll be in the hat for the Fish of the Year award in 2025. But certainly when it comes to February, the prize is yours. Congratulations, Nigel. Fabulous fish, well earned. Right, Jim, fishing prospects. But before, we know you've been in Thailand for a big bit of travelling. Did you have a good time?
Yeah, amazing time. Yeah.
Any fishing?
Yeah, done a little bit of fishing.
What did you catch?
I had a few sort of small grouper. Took a kayak out one day and just sort of done a little bit of jigging off the shelf of the rocks, and I was getting buried under the rocks by the grouper and managed to blow my rod up, which was a good bit of fun. So that put stop to that. But yeah, great experience, lovely. I was sitting out there on the kayak with the sun setting, and yeah, just a different world out there. So you think you might have the travel bug now? Yeah, I reckon so. I'll be going back for some more, that's for sure.
And well, as you know, I've got it back big time, and can enhance your life, but you can also make you bankrupt.
Yeah, it can do that for sure. Yeah.
So you're back in England, acclimatised into the weather. We've only got a week or so of the river season left. Mm-hmm. So let's deal with rivers first. What do you suggest people target, particularly as rivers are finding down now?
So I think this next couple of weeks it's going to be your chub and your barbel. Your barbel on the sort of milder evenings if you can, but especially these chub in this next couple of weeks. If you can get out there, these chub are probably at the sort of fillest they're going to be for the year. So if you want to get out and have a chance of catching these 6 or 7 pounders, now in this next couple of weeks is going to be your time to do it for sure.
And of course, there'll be a few big perch to be caught as well, won't there?
Yeah, certainly will. Yeah, again, the end of the season, these perch have had all winter to have their fill with all these smaller fish and that, and they're going to be really pumped up right now. So if you can get into an area and find some good perch, you can have some cracking afternoons and get some real big ones.
Particularly in that last hour as the light fades.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, through the days, on these bright days, I wouldn't bother going out too much on these bright days, but that last sort of hour period, as that light's dropping and the sun's setting, there's the time to be out for the perch.
And not that I fish for them, but carp anglers start to emerge towards the end of March as it gets milder. And what are the prospects for some of our big carp waters?
Oh, amazing. I couldn't tell you what's going to come out this year. Some of these fish over sort of on the big pits like Flint and Englefield and Pingewood, the last couple of years, some of these fish that have been coming through, there's fish that I was seeing last year at sort of mid-30s, and they're doing £5-6 a year, and they're turning up at nearly 40-pounders now. So I think there's going to be some really exceptional carp fishing to be able to cross our pits this coming spring. And there's already some guys out there that are sort of hanging it out through these colder weeks, and they've been catching a few. So you just got to get in the right areas, get out early morning, have a wander around, and you can have some good carp fishing over here in the spring, especially close in the edge. Just keep your eyes peeled. Don't just walk around and think, oh yeah, that looks a nice swim, because the sun's in there. You need to find the fish. If you can find the fish though, you can have some cracking days.
So carp in the lakes, perch, chub and barbel in the milder conditions, yeah?
Yeah, I'd say so, yeah. There's some great fish to be caught in these next couple of weeks, so just get your mojo, get out there, and there's a fish of a lifetime to be caught, I'm sure.
We certainly know that. Thanks a lot, Jim.
All right, good luck everyone.
Okay, I hope you found that interesting and informative. As Jim says, there's just a few days left of the river season, and as long as the rain holds off, a great opportunity to catch some real specimen fish. So I'm pretty confident that next month we're going to see some pretty impressive creatures on our picture gallery. I hope some of those big fish come to your rods. Have a great time out there. Tight lines.